Hello everyone, welcome back to Chaosville, and here I am, your master of horror for the evening, lying in Bedmont. So, as you can see behind me, I have finished up the chimney, and inside there is a block called a smoker from Railcraft. You make it with 2 pieces of redstone, a cauldron, and a bit of netherrack, and it just creates this big plume of smoke, and that is an interesting effect. So if my angle's low enough, well, if my angle's high enough, there's that tint on the sky. If I go low enough, it goes bright again. That's interesting. Well, today we are going to be investigating... wow, that really adds more texture to the clouds, doesn't it? That makes it look way more overcast. That is neat. Today we're going to be investigating poppets, because I need to investigate them with regards to a future endeavor, which I'll go into a bit more detail, but first... I cooked it right this time, and some of you pointed out that I missed out the wool of bat. You are correct, as is often the case. You can do things right a dozen times off camera and then get them wrong when you finally do them on camera. So let's see, this should have plenty of charge if I remove this. Okay, so we just add the chalice with the redstone soup. We get a filled chalice that was on 3000 before. Now it is on 4508, and this should still be working because I didn't hear it go off. I also, when I was in the Nether, I had to do a lot of digging around detective work, but eventually I found the Nether fortress that GNR's been visiting. So I do actually have a wither skeleton skull that I can put on this, but with 4508, I don't think we'll be needing it. So let me just pop this back. Good, didn't disturb it. And also in that vein, I have one 7x7 plain white ritual glyphs circle here for making waystones, which are a way of instantly teleporting even across dimensions, because they're bound by dimension and location. And then this other one over here, made of the overwear glyphs, for instantly using it. I also made a talisman so that I could just pick one of these up and just take it with me if I want to go somewhere. That I've been using to just sort of pop in back and forth between the Nether fortress, but unfortunately it is so very difficult to get a high power... oh, Beaver's back. Unfortunately, it is so very tremendously difficult to get a decent powered fortress, altar, sorry, inside of the Nether, so I kind of gave up on having one there, and I've just been making them here and copying them. But anyways, to poppets. Now, there is a fair list of poppets. There we go. So you've got the poppet, the basic poppet that everything's made from. You've got the earth protection poppet, which protects you from falling damage. Water protection poppet, protection from drowning. Fire, as the name. Hunger, again. Tool, instantly replaces one of your tools if it breaks. Death protection is what we're going to be mostly interested in, and that will protect you from anything that kills you, and will also give you a temporary buff against whatever it was. The voodoo protection poppet, which if you were watching Andy's live stream recently on Chaosville, I put to good work tossing him around and almost killing him whilst I was drowning myself. And the voodoo poppet, which is more or less similarly well, the voodoo poppet is the one I was messing with Andy with. The voodoo protection poppet prevents you from being messed with by that. The vampiric poppet transfers damage from one entity to another. And then there's the poppet protection poppet, which protects you from the vampiric poppet, the voodoo poppet, and all sorts of other stuff. And they only work as long as you are carrying them. That is the important thing to note. So if I had one in my inventory, let's say it was the hunger protection poppet, and I was starving to death, then it would work just fine. It would start taking damage, eventually it would break. But if I didn't have it, on my person, if I had, say, in a chest, it wouldn't work. The exception to that is the poppet shelf. If you have a poppet shelf, it allows you a space of, I believe it's 16, wherein you can have any number of poppets tied to any number of people, and as long as it's in a poppet shelf, it still works. It doesn't have to be bound to your person. The downside I found to that is that when the poppet finally breaks, as may be the case with, say, the hunger protection, earth protection, water protection, over time, you will not know. You hear a breaking sound if it breaks in your inventory, but you don't hear that if it's in a poppet shelf. But anyways, today we need to make a poppet. So that requires 4 wool, some Spanish moss, which we have growing free outside, a bone needle, which is just bone and a flint, and fun fact, if you then apply a bone needle to a piece of flint, you get a waystone. That's why I've got 23 of them here, and there's more in the Nether fortress. And we need a bit of string, which should be fairly cheap to come by. What I will note, however, is that this is color specific. It has to be plain white wool. But fortunately we do have a few sheep out the back. And I know I had some flint in here, or did I use that all on... I may have used it all on making these waste turns. Come on. Show me the flint. There we go, that's a piece of flint, that's what I want. Okay. And we just add that to the bone, and that gives us 8 bone needles. If you have the voodoo puppet and you shift right click while you're holding a voodoo puppet with these in your inventory, it sticks one of them in and deals a little bit of damage. Which I tried to use on Andy, but it wasn't that big of an issue because he had armor on, which was just making him be knocked around every now and then. The real fun in the voodoo puppet is that you can toss people around. So you charge it up sort of like a bow by pointing in a direction and holding right click, and you can toss them in a certain direction. And that was the most fun. Gives people the slight impression they might be lagging, but it's fun. Okay. I don't know who's... I think that's just a wild chocobo. Hello, sheep. Gives wool. And you are light grey. No good. And unfortunately, I can't just undye them. And that sheep hasn't wandered back onto the grass in so long, he still hasn't grown his wool back. But I believe there is another one somewhere back here. There he is. Gives wool. Are you serious? One piece of wool? Yes, you should be ashamed of yourself. Okay. Can I make this from anything else? I can dye it, I suppose, if I have enough. Okay, well that's not a huge issue then, because I have plenty of bones. Yep. Let's see, Spanish moss is mostly in the front of the building, because it makes it look all pretty-like. And I actually think I'm nearly done with this build. I think it's pretty much nearing completion. So I'm probably going to be putting it behind me soon enough and moving on to the next build. But let's see, how much more wool do I have? I have 7 wool. That is actually kind of perfect. So, oh yes, this is a unifier. This is a bit of a pain to get, but it basically takes an item and converts it to the next nearest item in the ore dictionary. You can also set it for preferences. So, for example, I have a gas tier in here, and there's a reason for that, because there is an item that you can get from Dartcraft called the tier. You get it from killing cold cows, which are cows which have been flayed alive. And it functions, ostensibly, like a gas tier. You get regen potions out of it, you can get one-day potions, that stuff. And in the ore dictionary, it is a gas tier. But you can't use it in Witch Free recipes because it's not a gas tier. So I had to go through all the trouble of making this unifier to convert a tier that I just happened to find in a chest to a gas tier for the purposes of our future endeavors. But what this means is that I can now manufacture gas tiers, not right now specifically, but not too long in the future. And that will allow me to make all of these fun things like the Drop of Luck, which reads Refined Evil, as we remember. I can now automate that without ever having to touch casts, which are really big and really annoying. Good to know. And, oh yes, I also, in order to make the unifier, I had to make a metallurgic infuser. And down there is a geothermal generator. Well, a heat generator, rather, from Mechanism. You may have seen one of these if you have been watching my Midnight Vaults streams every Thursday, 9 PM GMT. Not 9 PM, 11 PM GMT. It's a little early in the morning. I'm a little dead. Anyways, so we have our walls, and I put all my bones away. Because I was busy talking to you about all the trouble it took me to get this one gas tier. Okay, but bone meal. Bone meal there. Wools. 8 wool. Perfect. That's all I need. So, wool, 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 wool. Spanish moss. Bone needle. String, get us a poppet. And the one that I'm going to be making is the Death Protection Poppet. Partially because it's kind of the end tier of poppets, but also because it is going to be tremendously useful, and it's kind of annoying that whenever you search for any poppet it gives you the whole list. I don't know why it does that. There we are, Death Protection Poppet, which requires Diamond Vapor, which you get from putting diamonds, and I believe it is lapis, is it lapis? No, it's the oil of vitriol. And that gives you 2 diamond of vapors and 1 odor of purity. And we also need 1, not refined evil, 1, what is it then? because apparently my memory's terrible. 1 drop of luck, which requires the refined evil and the Pitantis Extremis, which you still have a little bit of. And a bottle. So, that requires... actually, let's just take a look. I've completely forgotten what it was we were making now, come on. Come on, brain, wake up. Refined evil, gas tier, diamond vapor. Right. Okay. Unfortunately, I have 2 of these, which is actually exactly the number that we'll make. Because what I have in mind will cost me 1 gas tier to get, and when 1 more to survive. Okay, there we go. Doop, doop, doop. So yeah, I kind of like the way the infuser sits around here, actually. It has this... As we already know, the basement of the Evil Dead cabin is filled with all manner of junk, including several different window frames, which might be explained by future events in the films. But just having, like, let's see, a distillery, an Oz Magica bench, a metallurgic infuser, a creeper head, because I got that as a rare drop, all manner of just random stuff lying around. It really suits the area. Looks very nice. Okay, and we are nearly done, so I shall just quickly grab water. And bingo, refined evil. Actually, judging by what came out there, it's probably the last thing I was making in there as well. Okay, drop of luck. So, we then need 4 gold nuggets. Perfect. You'd almost think this was planned. It wasn't, and despite what people may allege as to some of us on Chaosville doing some scripting in our videos. Okay, I need 1 more diamond vapor. Fortunately, you do get 2 from that, so you can pretty much make a drop of luck from a single diamond. You just need a gas tier. So, drop of luck, diamond vapor, poppet, gold nuggets, and that gets us the death protection poppet. So that I can then bind to myself by combining it with one of my taglock kits. No words. So, if I do this... This is now bound to me, so if I'm carrying this, or if it's in one of my puppet shells, which I don't presently have, but I may need in the future, then anytime I die, this will break immediately and give me a temporary buff against whatever it was that killed me. Now, I've mostly just used these in creative to test them out, but I haven't really seen what kind of buffs they give you, but things like damage and stuff like resistance, and whatnot. So that is going to be pretty handy. I'll keep that around. I'm going to put it here, just in case something bad happens while I'm running around. And the next thing that we're going to test out is that there is an armor that I would really like to have. So, this is what we need. The Rite of Necromancy, which creates a necromantic stone, which is mostly used as a way to control various necromancy things outside of Witchery. But we are going to be using it to create a piece of armor, specially for yours truly. So, for this, we're going to need a Tunestone, doesn't have to be charged, a bone, a zombie brain, wood ash, an iron sword, and a bit of spectral dust. You might wonder how we're going to get spectral dust, and the answer for that is that we need to perform a rite of summoning to create a familiar. So we need another drop of luck, a raw pork chop, a gold ingot, and an arfana, which we do get afterwards. And it's fairly straightforward, but it has to be done, well, it's just the necromantic one, has to be done by now, but it requires then another drop of luck, which requires another gas tier to be used. Bit of a pain, but I'll see about getting another one for when I finally do the big thing that I'm talking about all of the time right now. Okay. Diamond Vapor. And gas tier. So what a familiar is, there's sort of a couple different kinds of familiar. Because if we look through the book, let's see, there you are, then this one just summons a familiar. Doesn't really say what it is, but there's a few more. If we go to the Rite of Binding, then we can bind tamed owls, toads, cats as familiars. The one that we're summoning is just a spectral familiar, sort of a semi-transparent pig, and if you feed him certain items, like a diamond or an emerald, he'll run around and he'll sort of root them out like truffles. Tamed owls, toads, and cats give you different benefits, but they're a lot more expensive. Okay, there is our Find Evil. There is our water. And there is our Pitantis. Up into bed. just because it'd be nice to do this during the daytime, because the circle outside isn't 100% inside of the protective zones. But it is very fun to just come along here and see people that are, like, little mobs that are just stuck because they have no more else to go. And oh yes, I installed a guest list right at the end of the path. I don't quite recall if I've shown you guys that, but that is pretty dang handy to have because of all of the traffic that we get. I don't think anyone's used it just yet, but it's still handy to have. So, nope, different one. We want somewhere around here. Banishing. There we go. Drop of luck, raw pork chop, gold ingot, and Arfana. So there is an Arfana that I showed you last time for getting the rare drops from mobs. And I don't have any gold prepared thusly, although I do have a fair bit of gold ore berries apparently. And smelt that into gold nuggets. Figures. That's fine, we'll just do that then. Because I can grab the, hang on, did that say Odor of Purity? No, just, yeah. My brain is everywhere today. Oh yeah, and there's an interesting thing with these carpenters, things, where if you hit them on a, sort of just the right angle, then it will just keep continuously firing. I don't quite know how that is, but it apparently is. Okay, I need one piece of coal, but I'll take the full thing anyway. There we go, 200. Okay, so just wait for that to cook up, and I shall review what it is that the other ones, the other familiars do. Now, the toad is specific to brewing. If you have a bound toad, then you can get more, you have a higher chance of getting more than one brew out of a given thing inside the kettle. The tamed owl gives you better maneuverability on the enchanted brew, which we may look into later, because it's a neat way of travelling, but it may be somewhat subject to requirement. And the cat improves the power of your curses, which there are certain practical issues with me performing on a server full of YouTubers, but anyway, that's what the cat does. This, however, is the extremely expensive section of familiars, because, as you can see, altar power 8,000, and it also requires demonic blood, which requires that you call forth a demon. These things are really powerful, and they require 3,000 power and a villager's sacrifice, or 2 attuned stones. So, little bit on the expensive side. But anyway, there is our gold ingot, and we have our Arfana, so that should be the end of it. So you see 2,000 power, there's more than excess in that back home. At the back there, the Arfana got gold ingot, just made, raw pork chop grabbed, and drop of luck. Got them all. Okay, and unlike the kettle, this will just tell me if there's something wrong. So, with that in mind, gold, drop of luck, pork chop, Arfana, initialize. And there is our entity.cat.name, apparently, but it is our spectral familiar. And you can have more than one of these, you just have to keep paying the costs to do it, which, since it requires the drop of luck, is a little bit on the expensive side. But what we need to do to him, much to, I shall imagine, the continuing adoration of Minecraft Peter, as far as the things I've been doing in this series of late, is murderize him. So, sorry, but you gotta go, because I need the spectral essence inside of you. And they have a fair bit of health, but there we are. Spectral dust. Shh. So that we can use to make our necromantic stone, which we now have all of the stuff we can make for us. So we just need wood ash and an iron sword, as well as some zombie brains and a bone. And we just need to now wait until night. So I may skip ahead just a little bit to when it is night, so that we can summon our necromantic might. And I can show you what it is I'm trying to make and why. And welcome back. So, as you can see, night has arisen, which means we can begin our evil magic ritual. Hopefully nothing attacks us, but here it goes, nothing. So, attuned stone, wood ash, spectral dust, iron sword, zombie brain, and bone. Begin. And it recognizes it, so that's a good sign. That I haven't missed something. There we have it. a necromantic stone. Now, the necromantic stone has two main purposes. The first and most obvious is that you can use it to command the undead that you create by tossing around a brew of raising, which is a splash potion you tossed about, and that requires all the vitriol, bone, mutandis, redstone, submarine, and wool of bat, so it's fairly cheap, all in all. Remember, that's how you get the oil of vitriol, so it's just foul fume which you get from mixing basically anything that the witch's oven doesn't recognize, and the quicklime which you just make from wood ash, so same thing, more or less. And, ooh, that's good, I need that in a moment. Now, there is a second purpose to the necromantic stone, which is that you can use it as a crafting ingredient. And what I intend to use it as a crafting ingredient for is the necromancer's robes, which are these ones. So, necromantic stone and 7 impregnated leather creates these, and as it says, it keeps the undead at bay. As long as you are wearing the necromancer's robes, undead do not attack you. So this includes all of the skeletons that keep popping out from the graves next door, and all of the zombies that keep running around, including angry zombies and furious zombies. So pretty much 70–80% of the mobs on the server, while you're wearing these, don't worry about you at all. And what's better is you can even dye them. So to make that, we need impregnated leather, and that is still going, it seems. Let me just grab those out, because why bother having them in here? So that's a little tear that goes, and a bit of foul fume. Nice little byproducts to have. And so, to make this robe, we need the impregnated leather, which is made from a diamond vapor and 4 whiff of magic. So that gets you 4 of those, and you do this twice. Unfortunately, that's why this is cooking in here, although it looks like I'm going to have to give it one more bit of lapis. There we go. Okay, so with magic. Now the other armor you can make is the witch's robes, which you do the same thing but using a creeper heart, which is a rare drop you can get from the creepers using in the Alfana. That also turns into a significant bulk of gunpowder, just so you know, and you can also use it to make the frozen heart, which is another witchery thing, which is used to make the icy slippers, which are the second kind of big armor piece as far as witchery goes, and those, when you are wearing them, water and lava will turn to ice and obsidian respectively whenever you walk over them. With lava it'll take a bit of durability damage, but otherwise you can just run as long as you like. Basically think of that specific scene out of Frozen, because apparently everyone has seen that lately. So, let's see, with magic, leather, diamond vapor, make, thank you. So, let us craft together our robes, and I'm going to dye these a very specific shade of blue, because I happen to like blue. As everyone knows, it is the superior color, and I can finally get rid of these junky robes. So there we are. That is my necromancer's robes. Don't they look swanky? The witch's robes look more or less the same, but they don't have these like what's the phrase? Pandals, like something like a pal something, pauldrons. That's it. On the top of these shoulders there. So now, if we wander outside, it is night, so there should be some stuff wandering about. We should only be attacked by creepers and the like, but we should not have anything to worry about from, skeletons like that dude over there. So yep, not even bothered. Not a thing to worry about. Look at that, I can even budge up against him. He does not care in the least, and it's not even doing durability damage. So, now I can wander happy as can be. Apparently this is affecting the headgates, because they're not worried about me at all, ever. So, yeah, that is pretty sweet. And with that, I shall catch you all next time. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and or a favourite. Follow me on Twitter and subscribe to be notified of future updates. You can also check out the website where most other content is uploaded. That's all for now, catch you later.